If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know for a fact that I'm a huge fan of ticker symbol O, Realty Income Stock. And just to prove it, right here on the screen are just some of the purchases that I bought as far as almost daily buys when it comes to Realty Income Stock from one of my larger dividend growth portfolios. Now, I'm personally a huge fan of Realty Income Stock for multiple reasons, but simply put, I think that Realty Income is a high quality asset that also pays a nice amount of cash flow on a monthly basis and also has the potential to really increase in price over the long term. And for those pretty simple reasons, I personally acquired thousands of shares of Realty Income over the last few years as a 31-year-old investor. Now in this video, I'm going to go through and show you exactly how much I was paid from the monthly paying dividend stock Realty Income as of last month in the form of dividend income, and also share with you exactly how many shares of Realty Income I'm holding as of right now. Then towards the end of the video, I'm going to go through and show you what my position of Realty Income could possibly compound into over the next, say, 5, 10, 15, or 20 years. And make sure to stick around for that because you are definitely not going to want to miss it. Now, before we get into all this, make sure to please drop a like down below and subscribe for more future content like this. So once again, just to briefly touch on the fact that I buy a good amount of Realty Income shares on an ongoing basis. Sometimes I'm buying as many as 100 shares at one time. Sometimes I'm buying just one share here and there. It really depends on how much cash balance I have in my portfolio and how much Realty Income is, say, up or down in that given day. But across all my dividend stock portfolios right now, and I do have quite a few, I'm currently sitting on around 2,600 plus shares of Realty Income as of filming this video. And honestly, probably within the next week or so, I'll probably be adding around 25 to 50 more shares, hopefully. Now, even with how many shares of Realty Income I currently own, Realty Income is not my largest position across all my portfolios. My largest position as of right now are still my 1,000 shares of Apple, in case you're curious. But for those that are interested in how much I actually generated in dividend income from Realty Income, ticker symbol O, across the majority of my portfolios in the month of October, here are the exact screenshots from my personal portfolios. Now keep in mind there are some other smaller portfolios I have that I have a few shares of Realty Income in, but I didn't take the time to screenshot those just for time's sake, but this gives you more or less an idea of what we're working with. So first off, from one of my larger portfolios, as of October 13th, I earned $230.40 from Realty Income in that portfolio. And keep in mind, Realty Income pays out on a monthly basis. And even though I don't have dividend reinvestment turned on, which means I don't directly drip back into Realty Income per se, I do use a lot of my cash balance, as you saw earlier, to buy more shares of Realty Income on a pretty consistent basis. On my next portfolio on the 13th of October, I earned $72.19 when it comes to Realty Income stock. On my next portfolio, my largest portfolio when it comes to Realty Income, on this portfolio I earned around $271, which is absolutely awesome because that's the most I've ever earned from a single portfolio due to me adding so many shares as of last month. Next, in a few of my smaller portfolios, relatively speaking, I earned another $23.62 from Realty Income, and on my last portfolio, at least for this video, I earned around $54.94. Now, in case you're trying to add up all the dividends and then divide it by how much Realty Income pays by the month, I already did the math for you. This altogether is around 2,550 shares of Realty Income, and like I said, I do own some more shares of Realty Income on top of this in smaller portfolios as well. But this gives you an idea of how much Realty Income I currently have across the majority of my larger portfolios and exactly how much I was paid from Realty Income in total throughout the month of October. Now, what's also pretty crazy is that if you were to add up all those dividends, just the ones we went over, not including the dividends in my smaller portfolios, in which I have some more Realty Income in, if you were to add those all up, it's around $650, which is what I earn now on a monthly basis. And also, keep in mind, Realty Income has a history of not only paying dividends consecutively for 54 years without a reduction, but also, maybe even more importantly, Realty Income has a streak of dividend growth of 28 years of consecutive dividend increases. Now, why is dividend growth so important, you might be wondering? Well, for me personally, and keep in mind, I know there's some investors out there that have way more shares of Realty Income than me. I know there's some investors that have way less. I'm just going off of my personal investments, with currently holding around 2,600 shares more or less of Realty Income as of filming this video, with a dividend increase of even half of a %. The numbers really start to add up when you get into the multi-thousands of shares of Realty Income, especially if you're on top of that, adding more and more shares on an ongoing basis. So now if you have any sort of curiosity like me, you're probably wondering, well, what would happen with this Realty Income position that I personally own of around 2,600 shares if I was to just reinvest all the dividends around the $650 range of dividend income on a monthly basis, reinvest that into more shares of Realty Income, and potentially not even buy a single another share ever again, which between you and I'm definitely going to buy more shares of Realty Income. So this isn't necessarily even realistic, but just to go off of that math, reinvesting all the dividends and keeping the amount of shares I have as of right now, let's see what our dividend income would be looking like in the future. So looking at our Realty income forecast, it says, based on dividend growth, we'll assume your holdings in aggregate continue to grow their dividends at your accounts at a 5-year dividend growth rate of around 3%. Dividend reinvestment boost. So if we have dividend reinvestment turned on, which like I said, I don't personally turn on dividend reinvestment for my portfolios. I like to just get the cash balance in my portfolios and then maybe wait for a red day to buy some more shares at a little bit higher of a frequency. But regardless, I'm not saying that dividend reinvestment is necessarily bad. It's just not what I do. But for this example, based on your account's yield, we'll assume reinvesting adds 4% to your growth rate for a total annual dividend growth around 7%. Again, these are all just numbers. Take this all with a grain of salt. So to give you an idea, the current income scenarios are looking like this. As of right now, we're looking at around $7.9 thousand on an annual income basis. By 2028, which is around, let's say, 4 or so years from now, we're looking at almost double that at $11.2 thousand by 2033, $15,700 by 2038, $22,000 by 2043, 20 years from now. The amount of income that I would be generating on a yearly basis would be over tripled at $31,000 just about. And of course, there's different scenarios if Realty Income's dividend starts to go up faster or slower, but this just gives you an idea of what the compounding could look like. If I don't buy another single share of Realty Income, regardless from this point, my dividend income is going to skyrocket. Now, what's really crazy is that if I was to contribute, say, $10,000 into Realty Income on top of all this, on top of reinvesting all the dividends into more Realty Income, if I was to contribute another $10,000, which is realistic and somewhere within the range of what I buy currently, by 2043, we'd be looking at $55,800 per year in dividend income from Realty Income. And of course, the numbers just get bigger and bigger with that extra annual contribution. So there we have it, exactly how much I earned in dividend income from ticker symbol O, the monthly paying dividend stock Realty Income in the month of October 2023. Now, I really hope to look back at this video sometime in the future, maybe a year from now, and laugh at how many shares of Realty Income I owned. Because hopefully, just hopefully, I own plenty more shares in the future. But now I want to hear from you guys down below 2 things. For one, what are your current thoughts about Realty Income? Would you rate it a buy or a sell if you had to? And number 2, if you are a fan of Realty Income, how many shares do you currently hold as of right now? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.